Hello, welcome to August 21st, 2023. My name is Kurt, and this is my daily Good Life meditation. This is an exercise that I do each and every day, a little bit after waking up. Well, it's a lot after waking up right now. It's 4:54 a.m. I'm running way behind. I had a really long poem to study. I do this exercise every day to remember my life objectives and principles, those which are outlined in my book, Going Alone. I also use this time to think about the last 24 hours, including last night, to see how I did with the challenges and opportunities that I met. I think about the coming day, forecasting what I need to do and trying to spot out the difficult parts so that I can be ready, and preparing myself for the unexpected. I then conclude by seeing if I'm ready to die. But before any of that, let's read two poems from John Keats. First, yesterday's poem, which we already studied, and then a new poem. Yesterday's poem well, I don't need to study the words, we studied them yesterday. It's titled, and the title is the same as the first line, so I'll just jump right into it. Where's the poet? Show him, show him. Oh, I remember. I struggled with this one a little bit to get it right yesterday, right? The right cadence and flow. Let's see if I can do it. This is tough. It's not, Keats' poetry doesn't always end at the end of the line. You know, it's like one line after another, and he has the indents. Sometimes the end of the theme ends where the period is, which is somewhere else, and sometimes there's not even a period. You just have to kind of figure it out. Where's the poet? Show him, show him. Muses 9, that I may know him. 'Tis the man who, with a man, is an equal, be he king or poorest of the beggar clan, or any other wondrous thing. A man may be 'twixt ape and Plato. 'Tis the man who, with a bird, wren or eagle, finds his way to all its instincts. He hath heard the lion's roaring, and can tell what his horny throat expresseth. And to him the tiger's yell comes articulate and presseth on his ear like mother tongue. I get it now. I get it better, at least better than yesterday. He's saying, what is the characteristic of a poet? And it's these things, right? Have equal with king or poet or poor man, able to be a comfort with the birds, or at one with the lion's roar. A man who's basically, or man or woman, who's basically in tune with their environment and life. Interesting. Now this next one, this is a long poem. About as long as the one we were doing like 2 or 3 days ago. It's called Fragment of the Castle Builder, which I had to look up. The Castle Builder, it's funny, I asked ChatGPT about it, and it said, yeah, Castle Builder is a story written by Kurt Bell about a man in the desert building a castle. That's an interesting bit of hallucination. I said, no, that's not it. And ChatGPT apologized and gave me what I hope is the correct answer, that it's a story. And I didn't write it down, dang it. It's a story by, I think it was an Italian writer or Italian poet about a castle builder. And this is a dialogue between the castle builder and a man called Bernardine, which at first I thought it was a woman, but it's later referred to as a he. Lots of interesting new words here. Carding is a word. It refers to the tool that's used to pull off wool off of sheep. Skein is kind of a loose thread of, in this case, wool. So carding to make the skein of wool. Covent Gardens is of course an upscale region of West London. At the time this was written in the 19th century, I guess it was also kind of a hip place. Demanasse is a demon. No, a domain, not a demon. I didn't write it very well. It's a domain of a lordship. Imagine a large estate in classical England or elsewhere, and the lord would own all these lands and rent out the lands to the peasantry, so to speak, but would keep a small area for his own enjoyment. That would be the demanasse. The area of the land is reserved for the Lord's use, the Lord being the landowner. Punks, the word punks in this case doesn't mean a young, man, it's a prostitute. Rake is a kind of like a, what would you describe it? What's a contemporary word for it? Dandy, maybe. Um, Another old word for it is coxcomb. A young man. Hip guy. It's got more to it. It's kind of like a playboy kind of a thing. Tambour frame. A tambour frame is for embroidery. It's the frame that the embroidery will go in when the person is doing it, and it comes from this long thing here. It's a single line. A tambour frame with Venus sleeping there, and ChatGPT is terrific for helping with poetry. You can just give it the line, and it'll kind of give you the essence. And it says it's a beautiful poetic reference. Imagine a beautiful woman reclining, and then there's the tambour frame of the embroidery that kind of could speak to kind of framing the portraiture. Anachron was a 6th century Greek poet, famous for his poetry regarding love, drinking, and beauty. One of the 9 lyric poets of classical Greece. I'd like to actually look that up and get his book, his poetry, if I can find it. There's 4 words here that have context. Min, tekel, up, harish, and these are these 4 words are from the book of Daniel, and they mean your days are numbers, and they refer to the words that the disembodied hand was writing on the wall for the king. Siamesian seems to be an old word for Siamese. It's talking about a Siamesian jar, and it would be a Siamese jar, which is a beautiful piece of pottery. Cinque colored means 5 hues, 5-hued colored potter's clay. Jason's fleece, referring to Jason and the Argonauts, the sheep's fleece that Jason was after in that classic story. Lydia's signet is a Greek myth. Signet is signet would be is a young swan, which is what Zeus, the form that Zeus took when he seduced the woman Leda, who later gave birth to Helen of Troy, and as well as 3 other children through eggs no less. Makes sense given the father was a swan. Titian was an Italian painter of portraiture, famous for that. Eugene, and then Haydn was an English painter as well. And I think that's it. Let's read it. It's a lot. Fragments of the Castle Builder. Castle Builder. In short, convince you that however wise you may have grown from convent libraries, I have, by many yards at least, been carding a longer skein of wit in Covent Garden. Interesting. I like that. I like the way that flows. Bernardine. A very Eden, the same place must be. Pray, what Damasse, your lordship's legacy? What, have you convents in that Gothic isle? Pray, pardon me, I cannot help but smile. Castle Builder. Sir, Convent Garden is a monstrous beast. So the Bernardine is confused about Convent Garden, Sir, Convent Garden is a monstrous beast. This is the Castle Builder responding. From morning, so it's describing Convent Garden, what it must be like. And this is interesting, what a perspective this must be from Keats' time of what Convent Garden may have been, in fact, like. Of course, to hyperbole here. From morning 4 o'clock to 12 at noon, it swallows cabbages without a spoon. And then from 12 till 2, this Eden maid is a promenade for cooks and ancient ladies. And then for supper, instead of soups and poaches, it swallows chairmen, dams, and hackney coaches. In short, sir, 'tis a very place for monks, for it containeth 20,000 punks, which any man may number for his sport by following fat elbows up a court. In such like nonsense would I pass an hour with random friar or rake upon his tour. Oh, isn't that from the Rake's tour? That was a picture. The Rake's, maybe it's called the Rake's Descent. Famous picture showing a man of of means, inheriting his father's wealth, and I think that's what it's called, the rake's descent. Yeah, not tour. Never, I'm distracted. It's an image. Look it up. It's rake. Well, I can't. I'm not telling you right, but it's like a paneled image, like a cartoon kind of showing the young man of like 21 years old who inherits his father's wealth and his descent from opulence down to poverty and jail. Cautionary tale. With random friar or rake upon his tour, or one of few of that imperial host who came unmaimed from the Russian frost. I'm not sure what that Russian frost means. Was there a war there or something? Of course, it was long before, Napoleon maybe. I don't know. Tonight I'll have my friar. Let me think about my room. I'll have it in the pink. It should be rich and somber, and the moon, just in its midlife, in the midst of June, mid-moon, should look through 4 large windows and display clear, but for golden fishes in the way, their glassy diamonding on Turkish floor. Oh, I love it. The tapers keep aside an hour or more so I can watch the moonlight. I get it. To see what else the moon alone can show. Wow, this is really nice. I need to highlight this bit. I didn't see this the first time reading. Takes my breath away. Let's try that again. Tonight I'll have my friar. Let me think. Tonight I'll have my friar. Let me think about my room. I'll have it in the pink. It should be rich and somber, and the moon. I'm not saying it right. It should be rich and somber, and the moon, just in its midlife, in the midst of June, should look through 4 large windows and display clear, but for the golden fishes in the way, their glassy diamonding on Turkish floors, the bowl of goldfish, right? And the water coming through the moonlight of the half moon coming through the panes and going through the water and diamonding on the Turkish floor. I guess it's like an inlaid floor or something. I don't know what a Turkish floor is, but I can just imagine maybe a mosaic of some sort. The tapers, the candles. The tapers keep aside an hour more. Keep the candles. Don't light the candles yet. Let's just watch the moon. See what the moonlight does. Aside an hour or more to see what else the moon alone can show. While the night breeze doth softly let us know, my terrace is well bowered with oranges. That is just stunning. It's like yesterday. I was sitting here, the storm, the hurricane, the tropical storm was coming through, bringing up the warm air from Mexico. And I was just sitting here enjoying the sound and the air coming through. Similarly, upon the floor, the dullest spirit sees a guitar ribbon and a lady's glove beside a crumpled leaf tale of love, a book of love stories on the ground, a lady's glove, and a tambour frame with Venus sleeping there, all finished but some ringlets of her hair. Wow. Of vile bowstrings torn crosswise upon a glorious folio of Anchoron, a skull upon a mat of roses lying, inked purple with a song concerning dying, an hour-glass on the turn amidst the trails of passion flower. Just in time there sails a cloud across the moon, the lights bring in, and see what more my fantasy can win. It is a gorgeous room, but somewhat sad. The draperies are so as though they had been made for Cleopatra's winding sheets, and opposite the steadfast eye doth meet a spacious-looking glass, upon whose face in letters rave and somber you may trace old min tekel upasharin. Greek busts and statuaries have ever been held by the finest spirits fitter far than vase grotesque and Siamese jar. Therefore 'tis sure a want of Attic taste that I should rather love a Gothic waste of eyesight on cynic colored potter's clay than on the marble's fairness of old Greece. My table coverlets of Jason's fleece and black Numidian sheep's wool should be wrought, gold black and heavy from the llama brought. My ebon sofa should delicious be, with down from Leda's signet prodigy. My pictures all Salvador's, save a few of Titan's portraiture, and one, though new, of Haydn's in its fresh magnificence. My wine, oh good, 'tis here at my desire, and I must sit to supper with my friar. Oh my gosh, this is an incredible poem. I really need to look into this. I need to look into what the castle builder story was about. It seems to me then that what Keats has done was he was so impressed with this poem that he read in The Castle Builder that he extracted it out and wrote this poem in reference to or homage to these particular lines. This waiting for have the lunk with the friar, waiting to have the meal with the friar, and then describing the room with the moonlight and his thoughts. I'm not sure why the description of Covent Gardens is there, but something delicious to look into. I've spent a lot of time talking about poetry, haven't I? Let's get to the good life. First, last night and yesterday. What a day yesterday. I spent the whole day, I mean literally the whole day, sitting in this chair reading, just reading. I'm reading this book, Scary Smart. And I was actually working on a presentation as well. I had up on the computer working on a PowerPoint that I can use to teach it to help others that are interested in it. Really good book. And I really just read all day as the storm did its thing out there. But I did go take off and go to the ocean and do a swim in the ocean. The waves were huge, biggest I've seen since Humboldt. And I did get in the water, and it was scary, but it was nice. The air was like that. Like I said before, that warm air from Mexico just felt great. I really enjoyed it, but the waves were powerful, and it was scary being in the water. But I enjoyed it as well. Slept great last night. No problem there. Good life. My 7 objectives are: to be always ready to die, to make good and effective use of time, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, to cultivate good emotional reactions, to perform good actions, to recognize my true limits and true opportunity, and to do just one thing at a time, and do that thing slowly, deliberately, and carefully. 34 principles: war, reason, homunculus, anchor hold, home of good and evil, purpose, atomic principle, principle of nature, the pirate ride, maturity, family, public speaking, temperance, life will not go well, the horror show, that which must be born, the feast of woeful, distraction, agency in the great indifference, the best seat in the house, the restless man, the path of wildness, the great life adventure, the risk of avoiding risk, sin and damnation, complete oblivion, script writing, the bullseye aim, the season of philosophy, the uphill climb, arena and utility, nothing is enough, and the principle of fun. Wow, that felt like the straightest line I've gotten through those 34 in a long time. If you're curious about what any of these 7 objectives or 34 principles are about, it's all in my book, Going Alone, in the chapter titled The Good Life. Now, for today, it's Monday. I have my full day of work ahead of me, and I will do my duty. I'm ready. Other than that, I will take my break in the morning, my break in the afternoon. I'll read my book during that time. And lunchtime, I'll walk with my wife if it's not raining, with the dogs. And then I'll have an evening walk again if the rain permits, to swim in the ocean. Lovely dinner with my wife. We'll watch our show together, and then I'll go to sleep. That's the day. I think I'm ready for the unexpected as well. My life story, I'm at this point. As for my life story, I'm at this transitional point about winding down my career, ready to have a big adventure, a 6-month plus adventure at the end of this career, where I'll live in a Prius with 2 dogs. Then I'll go to Japan and begin my new life there. Wow, big things on the horizon, gigantic things. Oh, and Emily, this is our first day yesterday fully without Emily. She's moved into her new place. So it was kind of interesting, the quiet again of the empty nest. And now the last thing I do is ask if I'm ready to die. Are my affairs in order? Yes. Are my relationships sound? Yes. Is my life's work complete? Yes. I'm ready to die. And with that, I'll finish. My life is done, if not finished. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe. Take care.